Okay, 7th grade in lesson 8.1, we're talking about scale drawings. And number 1A that we did in class from worksheet D, we used our scale factor of 5 inches to 8 feet. And we're told in question 1A that the wall in the blueprint is 30 inches. So if we know the wall in the blueprint is 30 inches, we can figure out the size of the actual wall. Here we set one ratio of inches to feet equal to another ratio of inches to feet. And when you have one ratio equal to another ratio, that is a proportion. You can solve for your unknown in a couple different ways. You can cross multiply and divide, or you can say, how did I get from 5 to 30? Well, I multiplied by 6. So if you do that on the top of the ratio, you do the same thing on the bottom of the ratio. From 8 to your unknown, you multiply by 6. 8 times 6 is 48. So 30 inches in the blueprint, 48 feet is the actual size of the wall. In question 1B, we are told that a door in the room has a width of 4 feet. Okay, so again, we're going to use our scale factor of 5 inches to 8 feet, and inches are on top, feet are on bottom in our ratio. We're going to fill in 4 feet. That's the actual length, actual width of the room. And we want to know the width of the door in the blueprint. So we're looking for this unknown number of inches. So again, you can cross multiply and divide to solve your unknown, or you can say, how did you get from 8 to 4? Well, I divided by 2. 8 divided by 2 is 4. So if you divide by 2 on the bottom of your ratio, you do the same thing up top. 5 divided by 2, that would be 2.5, 2.5. And again, your label is inches. Okay, so 2.5 inches. Going to problem number 2, 2A, says the scale of a room in a blueprint is 2 inches to 1 foot. So I'm going to use that scale factor, 2 inches to 1 foot. I'm going to use that scale factor to set up a proportion so that I can solve for my unknown. Okay, so this is the scale factor. It goes on to tell us in number 2 that a window in the same blueprint is 12 inches. Okay, so I'm going to set this ratio equal to another ratio of inches to feet. And the window in the blueprint is 12 inches. And I want to know, question 2A, how long is the actual window? So we're looking for this unknown number of feet. Again, I can cross multiply and divide, or I can say, how did I get from 2 to 12 up top? Well, I multiplied by 6. 2 times 6 is 12. So if I multiply by 6 on the top, I multiply by 6 on the bottom. 1 times 6 would give me this unknown number of feet. 1 times 6 is 6. So if the window in the blueprint is 12 inches, the actual window is 6 feet. Question 2B, again, I'm going to use my scale factor of 2 inches to 1 foot. And in question 2B, it says a mantle in the room has an actual width of 8 feet. Okay, so use your scale factor to set up another ratio of inches to feet and fill in the information that you know. You know the mantle in the room has an actual width of 8 feet, and you want to find the width of the mantle in the blueprint. So you want to know how many inches is it. So again, you can cross multiply and divide, or you can say, how'd you get from here to here? Well, you multiply by 8, so you do the same thing up top to get your number of inches. So go ahead and finish solving that one on your own. Make some more room here. We'll go over the last two, numbers 3 and 4. I'll help set up for you, and then you finish solving them. Okay, so for number 3, we have this the scale of the drawing. The drawing looks something like this: 12 inches by 6 inches. Okay, the scale in the drawing, it says, is 2 inches to 4 feet. 2 inches to 4 feet. I would write your scale as a fraction like that, or as a ratio, 2 inches to 4 feet. You're going to use the scale factor to help you figure out other information that you're looking for. Question 3 says, what are the length and width of the actual room? Okay, so let's label this the length, and this is the width. All right, so let's first find the length. The length. Okay, so that's our scale factor, 2 inches to 4 feet. Let's set this ratio equal to another ratio of inches to feet to set up a proportion. Fill in the information that you know. What is the length of this shape? Well, it's 12 inches. So I fill in 12 next to the inches. Now I got to solve for the unknown. How many feet is this? Well, to get from 2 to 12, I multiplied by 6. So I do the same thing here. 4 times 6 will give me this unknown amount. Well, 4 times 6 is 24 feet. So the length is 24 feet. Now, what about the width? Well, again, you use the scale factor. The scale factor is 2 inches to 4 feet. Set this ratio equal to another ratio of inches to feet so that you can solve for the unknown. What is your width? Well, your width is 6 inches. So fill that in next to the inches and solve for this unknown. How did you get from 2 to 6? Well, you multiplied by 3. So you do the same thing on the bottom. 4 times 3 will give you this unknown number of feet. 4 times 3 is 12. All right, so this is your width. All right, so you have a length of 24 feet, a width of 12 feet. You want to know the area. That's the last part. You know the length, you know the width. What is the area in feet? Well, remember the area is equal to the length times the width. All right, so you know these parts now. You just solve for them. That's the length and that's the width. The length is 24 feet. The width is 12 feet. 24 times 12, that's 288. You have feet times feet, that's feet squared, or square feet. That is the area of the scale drawing. Okay, number 4, last one. I'll set this one up for you, and then you can finish solving it. I'm almost done. Number 4, a studio apartment has a floor that measures 80 feet by 64 feet. That's the information that we're given in the first sentence. Okay, then it tells us the scale of the drawing on the grid paper uses a scale of 1 unit to 8 feet. You're going to use this scale to figure out the dimensions of the scale drawing. All right, so set this ratio of unit to feet equal to some other ratio. All right, so here let's use 80 feet. Plug in 80 feet right here. How did you get from 8 to 80? Well, you multiplied by 10, so you do the same thing up top. 1 times 10 is 10 units. 10 units. Okay, now you got to figure out how many units is 64 feet. So again, use your scale factor of 1 unit to 8 feet. Set that equal to 64 feet over some number, under some number of units. How did you get from 8 to 64? Well, you multiplied by 8, so you do the same thing up top. 1 times 8 is 8. So the actual dimensions are 80 feet by 64 feet, but when you convert them to units, it's 10 units by 8 units. 10 units by 8 units. Okay, so that is 8.1 worksheet D. Be sure you have all your work shown, your final answer circled. You will turn in your work.